Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story, it was forwarded to me by one of our admins, sent to us by one of our brothers. Strange things do happen in this world. The message reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a man who is 58 years old. I came here to South Africa when I was only 30 years old. And when I came here to South Africa, this was after I had been given a mission to come and do my part here in South Africa. So when I came here, there was already some agents that were waiting for me, and I am a satanic agent as well. When I was still back home in my country, I became a satanic agent at the age of 26. And it was all by mistake. So I was someone that was going to this other Pentecostal church that is very popular in our country. And I used to be the praise and worship singer. So it then happened that when one of the biggest pastor, who was like the biggest pastor in our country at that time, had been invited by our church leaders so that he can come as a guest speaker at this other conference. When he came, he was also followed by other satanic agents. They wanted to kill him. They tried by all means to do whatever that they could to get him killed, but they failed. The confession that I was given by one of the ladies who was a satanic agent was that they had tried to stand in front of his cars whilst the cars were traveling at a high speed, but they failed to cause an accident. And when he finally arrived at church, then they switched to plan B. All that they were supposed to do was to make sure that the people that were at that conference, they were going to hear everything that he was going to be talking about as he was preaching, but none of the people that were there were going to understand what he was talking about. They were all supposed to forget. As soon as someone would have left the church building, then they were supposed to forget. So at that time, when they walked in church, the pastor, what he was doing was that he would preach maybe for 2 or 3 minutes. Then he would look at me and my team. Then he will say that we have to worship. The moment that me and my team will start to worship, everyone in church will start to cry. For this was the grace of the Holy Spirit. And these satanic agents, they saw that since I was the one who was leading everyone into prayer, it was far much better for them to attack me first. By them attacking me, then they knew that this whole conference, it was just going to be like a social gathering. And even right now, this church, my brother, it is more of a social gathering where people just go there to show off their wealth and their riches. There is no longer Jesus Christ in that church. But when we were still growing up, this church, it was really a good church to go to. So at that time, when the way that they attacked me, in the same church, there was this other woman that was very beautiful. She had really good curves. And this woman, she used to dress in an inappropriate manner, but we used to ignore her. But they worked on me because of her beauty. Whilst I was singing, all of a sudden, this woman, she then left the church as if she was going to the toilet. So as she was walking out of the church, I don't know how I don't know what exactly happened, but I found myself looking at her big curves. And the more that I looked at her big curves, the more that I saw a vision of myself on top of her, or making her to bend over. And when I thought about this, I actually had an erection whilst I was in front, busy worshiping. And the moment that I had that erection, that was when I saw that people were no longer praising God as they used to do, and everyone in church started to sleep whilst the pastor was busy praying. And after church, that was when this other woman approached me and she introduced herself to me. I liked her confidence because she was new in church and she had just approached me like that and introduced herself to me. She then asked for my numbers, for she said that since she was still a new Christian, she just wanted to be taught a lot about the Bible. I was very happy, but that same lustful spirit was now like possessing me, as she was asking me that if I was able to teach her everything about the Bible from Genesis until Revelations. I then saw that she was an innocent woman whom I could take advantage of. Little did I know that she was just a satanic agent. So I took her numbers, and as she was walking away, I found myself lusting after her beautiful body. Then she went to this other beautiful car and they drove off. She told me that this was her parents' car. She was with her brother and her siblings, but they were all satanic agents. Each and every Sunday, they would come with a different car. Since the church elders, when they saw that these people, they have a lot of money, they quickly got promoted. This woman, she then chose to join the praise and worship. And each and every day when we would come for the praise and worship session, later on, we'll just sneak out of the church and we would find a dark spot where we would make love and return back into the church, because we used to have these praise and worship sessions at night, and this is what we were doing. The church was being corrupted from the inside. Later on, this lady invited me to her parents' mansion. When we arrived at her parents' mansion, I then found out that it was her and her siblings only. She never told me about the whereabouts of her so-called rich parents. At her house, after we had made love, that was when it was revealed to me that I had been chosen to be part of the satanic kingdom. I was going to be someone that will be having a lot of money, and my soul was going to be purchased for a price, and I was going to belong to the devil himself. Because I was in love with this beautiful woman, I then chose to be part of this demonic kingdom. And when I was now part of this satanic kingdom, I was taught a lot of stuff. I was taken to a place where it is underneath the sea. There is a city that is there. I'm searching for this city, for they call it Atlantis. That is the name of this city, but indeed it is there. That is where most of these technologies, they do come from. Like, people who do not know a lot of stuff, they think that humanity, it is just being progressive with the way that people are innovating. But these technologies, they have been invented. But these technologies, they are being invented underneath the sea. There are much more technologies that they say that they are not supposed to be introduced to the human race yet, for we are not yet ready. There are technologies whereby we can just harvest energy out of thin air, but those technologies are going to be introduced to the human race when they think that the human race is now ready to accept what they call the heroes of old. I never got to be taught about these heroes of old, for these are some of the secrets that you can only know when you are on the higher level, for there are many levels. It is like a pyramid whereby with each and every step you go to a higher step until you are at the top of the pyramid. That is when you are introduced to the heroes of old that will be introduced to the whole population one day. For the whole population, they call it the sheep that are always controlled by what they see on social media and what they hear on the news. So they are called the sheep, for they are not woken up. So after I had been taught all the things that I was taught in the sea, I was then told that I was supposed to be working with people who have access to women that are pregnant, for it is far much better to catch them when they are still in their mother's wombs. But that is the department that I am currently working in. In this department, it only deals with your pregnant women until they have given birth. That is the department in which I work in. So I was then given some options, either my country or any country here in Africa that is considered to be an economic powerhouse of Africa. And I ended up choosing South Africa. When I came here to South Africa, my mission was very simple. I was supposed to find a nurse, make her to be desperate so that she can fall in love with me. And after she had fallen in love with me, I was supposed to possess her. And in that same hospital where she will be working, I had to bring in other agents, make them to fall in love with the fellow nurses that will be working in the maternity wards where this South African woman that I would have dated first will be working, so that we can possess their bodies when it comes time for them to help a woman that will be in labor. I came here to South Africa, and when I came, then there was this other woman that I chose. What I would do is that I would go with these other men that are part of the organization. Then we would go and park at different hospitals, wait for the government nurses as they will be coming out of their shifts or going into the hospital to start their shifts. That was when I saw this other woman, and I saw that this woman, she was living a life that was full of loneliness, and I approached her. When I approached her, she had no chance, for I was like a hunter and she was the one who was being hunted. Already there were demons that had been sent to her home late at night so as to seduce her. And the moment that I approached her, she only looked at me once and she was hypnotized. That is how I made her to fall in love with me. After she had fallen in love with me, quickly we made it possible for us to get married. Even right now, we are still married, and she has no idea that for all of these years that we have spent together, I have been possessing her body whenever she goes on her shift. When she is busy working on those pregnant women, I'll be the one that will be controlling her movements. So what we do is that me and my fellow satanic agents, when our wives are busy helping a woman to deliver her baby, we then get out of our spirits, then we fly to this hospital where our wives are working, then we possess our wives, then we are the ones that will be responsible for bringing that baby into the world. Since we would be there, then we immediately dedicate that child to the devil. That is why you see that most of the kids that are being born, they are very naughty. They do not listen to their parents. They do whatever they think that it is a right thing to do. They lack discipline, for we dedicate them at the time of birth. So there are a list of curses that we place on these babies when they are born. The first curse that we place on them is to make sure that they laugh at the idea of there being a God. We make sure that this is the first curse that we place on them. Then the second curse is to make sure that they always doubt themselves if they are a boy or a girl, so that when they grow up, they are always in a state of confusion, not knowing if you are male or a female. That is the second curse. Then the third curse is to always chase after the things of the spirit, even though we would have cursed them not to believe in a God. So when we curse them not to believe in a God, then place a third curse in which they will be always chasing after the things of the spirit. They will know that they will end up finding the devil ignoring God, and the devil will be so much ready to reveal himself to them. So these are some of the curses that we place on these newborn babies. This is the work that I am doing here in this country that I chose, or maybe it is this country that chose me. Dear listeners, right, there was a message that was sent to me by one of our listeners right there. Strange things do happen in this world. So they target these women that are nurses that work in this department, whereby the women, they come to give birth. Then they possess their wives. At the time when your wife is helping a woman to deliver her baby, then you help her, but you will be possessed by a satanic agent.